This is Payne Nation with Charles Payne. Join the discussion now by calling 1-855-5-CHARLES. That's 1-855-5-CHARLES. Here is Charles.
Welcome back to the nation, Payne Nation. Okay, guys, you think the stock market's confusing right now? You think the state of the economy is confusing right now? What about the housing market? What's the real deal? Because I got to tell you, everyone's telling me we've turned a corner. We're turning a corner. Last week, every single day last week, there was a piece of economic data associated with housing, and every single one missed its estimates. Then on Monday, we had pending home sales. That was lower. Then we had Case-Shiller. That was a disaster. That was a nightmare. But everyone's telling me things are better. Home building stocks are rocking. And real estate experts are telling me things are better. So we searched wide and far because, we always have some real great real estate people on this show. Well, we found another one. We are joined now by Katrina Campins, co-founder, Campins Luxury Real Estate out of Miami and in the flesh. Welcome to Payne Nation.
Thank you for having me.
And, of course, you're one of those people. First of all, you just have such an aura about you. You just feel upbeat and positive. But you really are upbeat and positive about the housing market.
I am. But to your point, there are so many mixed messages when it comes to the actual data. So let me explain the overall picture. The reason that the headlines are so somber now is because February sales were slightly down. In January, sales...
Well, I'm sorry, Katrina. I got to cut you off 1 second. I know you've been practicing this. I know you say this spiel all the time. I'm not talking about February. I'm talking about 5 years. I'm talking about 5 years of the proverbial snowball that has become this gigantic boulder that doesn't seem to have, and it doesn't stop. It seems like from a common sense point of view, maybe we would hit bottom by now. From a supply point of view, maybe we would hit bottom by now. From mortgage rates at all-time lows. I mean,
we have hit bottom.
Oh, we have?
Yes, and this is why. We have to compare on a year-to-year basis. So let's say February of last year to February of this year. How are we doing? We're actually up 8.8%. And if we continue at the upward
This is
pace,
nationwide?
Nationwide. And this is something else that people are not telling you, right? We're at a 6.4-month supply. Our industry standard is a 6-month supply. So we're pretty healthy.
What about shadow supply?
Okay, so there's shadow inventory there. There absolutely is. Some banks have not released some of their foreclosures. But to your point, something else that's occurring in the marketplace, which people are not talking about, is that a lot of investors are actually going in and buying in properties and then renting them back. That's the reason that you're seeing all of these rent rallies. And people are confused. They're saying, how are rent prices going up and sales going up at the same time? It's because this is what's occurring. Investors are buying these homes, and then they're renting them back. Many times to people that currently live in them but can no longer afford them. Bank of America is actually testing this
They've
right now.
They've got a test program, 1,000 people, I think, of Arizona, New York, and Las Vegas probably, right?
And I think it's going to work.
You do?
I do. I think it's a win-win situation. And my experience has been that in the past 5 years, we've seen an upwards trend. And one other point is that last year we saw an upwards trend in certain markets. Miami was doing better. Vegas was doing better. But it wasn't even. This year, we're seeing a more even upwards trend. Now, again, there's markets like Cleveland that are never going to see the price appreciation that they saw back in the day because there's no jobs there. The manufacturing's gone, and it's not coming back, in my humble opinion.
Okay. Let's talk about that for a moment because, I guess the old saying is that all in real estate, everything's local, right? It's all about the local markets, and we do lump them all in together. Miami, Phoenix, Vegas, those are the three everyone talks about because they were sizzling. Mm-hmm. Then they took a pretty big hit. But now I'm hearing that people are coming into Miami with bags full of money. I mean, look, now you're smiling, huh?
I'm not seeing bags of money, but I'm seeing cash deals. I am, but I'm not seeing the bags of money. But you know what? That's another amazing point that you're making is that for so many years, real estate was regional. It was local, right? And then because of the markets, it became national. We began to analyze real estate on a national basis. But I think we should go back to really analyzing it on a regional basis because every market is different.
We just brought up Bank of America. It's gigantic. They have, I don't know how many, mortgages they're sitting on, but when they say they're going to do this program and they talk about 1,000, it almost seems to be, quite frank with you, disingenuous. 1,000 out of 1,000,000. Okay, nevertheless, is that the way is that what we're going to have to do? Because one of the things I wonder about is to truly jumpstart this, the housing recovery, if you will. banks are going to have to take some sort of a chance. At least that's my thinking. I don't know. Listen, I know the pendulum swings back and forth. I saw a report recently that they are finally beginning to accept lower FICO scores and starting to give out loans. Are you going to see that? Are you going to see maybe the ability to put down just 5%? Or is that too dangerously close to what we were doing when we got into this trouble in the first place?
No, I think you're still going to continue to see 20% down. I don't think that's going to change. And interest rates are still relatively low. And people are qualifying, but you have to have a job. That's the most important point here, is that employment is our main driver.
And you have to be able to prove it.
And you have to be able to pay, exactly. And you have to be able to prove it.
I just can't come in and say I have a job.
It's jobs. Jobs are what we need. It's the last piece of the puzzle.
Okay, well, then that. But you're upbeat about this, though.
I am, because I'm in the market and I see it on a day-to-day basis, and I see people buying, and I see the consumers are more positive, and the economy is coming up. And you know what? So much of it is psychological.
Do you meet poor people?
Of course I do.
No, come on, really. In your circle, listen, you've got an amazing, successful business. By the way, we got to talk about your business, because you are the personification of the American dream.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I started from scratch. My parents came from Cuba with nothing. Everything was taken away from them. And so that's where my work ethic comes from. And I started my company, the Campins company. I was 21 years old. I made a million mistakes, but I learned the hard way.
How'd you make a million mistakes in 1 year?
No, I made a lot of mistakes. From employment to trusting the wrong people to just, starting a business.
Right. Well,
you make those mistakes.
Trial and error, we all do.
Right, we all do. But I'm so grateful for it. And I think that's the American dream that we need more of nowadays.
Now you're big time. And what I'm trying to say is, and we talk, just like real estate, do you really sincerely meet people that are struggling? Because the homes you sell, people, obviously we want them to go to your website. What's your website address?
It's actually thecampinscompany.com and tccse.com, which is our sports and entertainment division. So you're referring to our sports and entertainment division.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's amazing success, but selling to guys who play professional sports and then to a lot of people who maybe listen to the radio show, two different things.
Absolutely.
You feel like the same tide is lifting all boats?
They're different. They're different. And we're seeing more of an upwards trend in the luxury market, but we are seeing an upwards trend nationwide. We are. And you know what, to your point, I actually went to Detroit and I visited all of the neighborhoods in Detroit.
Buy it?
I have not bought in Detroit. I have not bought. But I took my mom and we did a tour of Detroit and really wanted to get down on the ground and understand what was going on with housing there. And so I've seen it all from beginning to end, and from the poor to the rich. And I think we're all made out of the same fabric at the end of the day. And
Katrina Campins, you are a success story. Thanks for coming on Payne
Thank you so much
Nation.
for having me.
You are in the Payne Nation. Call the show now at 1-855